Welcome back. This is the Easy Friday and straight moving on to business news. Now, the government will increase funding to agriculture, export processing zones and special economic zones to spur economic development. Budget and Appropriation Committee Chair Ndindi Nyoro says the National Assembly has also reallocated funds to high priority areas like healthcare, education and infrastructure developments. The government plans to spend 3.6 trillion shillings to fund the budget in the fiscal year 2023-2024.
At least 70% of the country's budget is set aside for recurrent expenditure and the wage bill. Legislators in charge of budget allocation and appropriation say the remaining 30% will be channeled into projects that promise returns to accelerate economic growth, which is facing serious headwinds in the last 3 years.
We want to be able to have adequate infrastructure for the investors, some who are moving from our neighboring countries, who are currently not very stable, and we want to build that kind of capacity in our country. No perfect government of balancing the budget and stuff, but as a committee we're doing the best we can to make sure that we take priorities that are right for our country and and study it and understand how we can be able to balance it as much as we can.
The chair of the Budget and Appropriation Committee, Ndindi Nyoro, says the government is banking on increased tax collection and streamlining tax management to cut down on expensive loans that are burdening the economy.
Areas that are highly mechanized, tech areas for example, there are areas that are very labor light. And when they are labor light, what that means is that profit margin is high for the entrepreneur, but the segment that goes into wages and income for the labor becomes condensed. So we are looking at areas that will be able to provide labor-intensive opportunities to be able to absorb the many Kenyans who are looking at taking part in the growth of our economy. EPZD is one of them, FCZ is one of them, agriculture is also one of them, mining is one of them, both cutting across primary and secondary production. We want to capitalize on having as many investors having seats in Kenya for them to come and invest, and especially as we try to capitalize on the opportunities that we have with the US called AGOA.
He says more resources will be channeled towards easing the cost of living and increasing the purchase of subsidized fertilizer. He was speaking during the tabling of the Department of Wildlife plan for the next financial year, where they insisted on citizen-centric policies.
The Committee Chair for Wildlife and Tourism, where I must say we are not impressed by the Line Ministry. It has proposed so many new projects, and yet the most pressing item under the Wildlife Department should be compensating victims that suffer so much under wildlife human conflict.
That is the elephant in the room, actually, in this country, and especially people who border wildlife. That is one thing that we really have to deal as legislators, as communities that favor that border the wildlife areas.
Hibak Said for Easy Friday.